Hello everyone, welcome back to Base Damage. I hope you are all doing wonderful today. I will go ahead and preface this first minute getting into the video that I don't know if this particular type of video is going to be for everybody. This is going to be me recounting my experience at Anime Weekend Atlanta, December of 2025. It has been a while since that particular event happened, but I do remember everything that did occur. So this is going to be something I start doing more, just like how I did the Kade Duluth POV, where I try to share my experiences on the vendoring side of things. And because I was a vendor at in the dealer's room at this particular convention, and I just want to like I said, just kind of share my experience on it, share how the convention went, who I met, and all sorts of other stuff. I will try to, without it just being a screen of my avatar bouncing up and down, I will try to share a bunch of pictures that I took of different cosplays, of different other things that I saw, some really cool cars and stuff that we saw in one of the showrooms and everything. So I do want to share a bunch of that and just other stories and things that happened with it, because there's some really awesome stuff that happened for this convention, despite me probably not going to it again in the future as a vendor. I don't know as of right now. I kind of have to wait and see till later this year. But that's, like I said, I just wanted to kind of preface that, because this is not, there's a little bit of Weiss Schwarz kind of in this. Talked to a couple vendors here and there that kind of had some Weiss stuff. Some other people who went to regionals and stuff like that. But other than that, there wasn't really a lot to really take into account for this one. So if this is not your particular cup of tea, I do greatly apologize. But I am going to be trying to post videos about this, like this more often, and recount a bunch of my experiences on the vendor side of things for the major conventions and events that I go to. But regardless, if this is not your cup of tea, thank you for swinging by. Thank you for always giving such wonderful support. But feel free to move on to another video if you want. If not, hey, let's, here we go. Well, yap session begin now. All right. So, like I said, this happened in December 2025. The craziest part of this is it happened the week before Christmas. So this happened, I can pull up calendar on my phone. I'm trying to remember the exact dates, but my brain is just a little frazzled. All right, so Christmas was on a Thursday. So this happened, this was an entire week-long endeavor, where I drove down there Tuesday the 16th, because the people that I was meeting up with, they, one of my other wonderful friends, my buddy Zen, never really been on the channel, but maybe one day he will, I don't know. He and the artist, actually, that made my particular PNG tuber avatar, his wife, Guinea Kitty, both of them got a spot at the dealer's room in this convention, and had invited me to come down there with and help run the booth, as well as said, here, you obviously you can sell your own shit as well. We'll make plenty of room. And they did, and it was a really fun time, obviously. So we had to go down there the 16th, because loading in, I'm in North Carolina, so I had to drive down to Atlanta. They live in South Carolina, so they didn't have as far to go, but still. We met up in a town outside of outside of Atlanta. This was Conyers, Georgia. I'm trying to remember the exact things. And Conyers alone was really cool. It felt like an interesting little treasure trove on the vendoring side. It's like I said, this is going to be me talking about a lot of vendoring stuff and me buying games and buying particular, cards and other product to be able to resell at events like this. And one of the big things I always do, obviously, is going to check flea markets, going to check different trade-its, pawn shops, thrift shops, especially in this one. In Conyers, I feel like I robbed them blind. I went into multiple thrift shops all at the same little area. Well, first off, I went into a GameStop, and the GameStop was just bleh. They were loud. The employees in there were very loud, very pushy. It felt weird to say. I mean, I don't really expect that from any GameStop employees. I've known other GameStop employees who are not like that, but this guy in particular, the moment I walked in, "Hey man, how are you doing? Want to buy some Pokemon cards?" And I'm like, No, I don't. And I gave him a very fucking weird look on that one. He's like, "Okay, don't worry about it. If you want to, just let us know. Anything else you're looking for?" Like, just, then just kind of being weird. I'm like, why the fuck are you trying to specifically push Pokemon cards on me? Okay. Sure, whatever. I just kind of looked around, didn't see any deals or anything going on. Nothing caught my eye. I'm still trying to, not just on the deal side, I was trying to look for some PlayStation 5 games that I could play. I got Metaphor ReFantasia recently, so I'm playing through that. Super fun game, just side note. But I didn't get that there. I got that off of Amazon when it was on sale. But the GameStop didn't have jack shit. So then I'm like, okay, we'll just go start looking at thrift shops. Proceed to go around to all these different thrift shops. One in particular, I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't want people to go. Someone hears this and then goes swarming them looking for games. I'm not going to do that. I went into one particular thrift store. I went to the back. I saw where the DVDs were, and I'm like, okay, let me see. Oh, they have a game section. Look over there, and I see it's a very, very small game section by comparison. But then I see the Wii games. And I see the Michael Jackson The Experience for the Wii. I went, huh? And then I look right next to that in a just like a GameStop box. It said Wii Sports. For those who don't know, Wii Sports is like a fucking $25 to $30 game in addition to Sports Resort. It kind of varies in price at the time of recording this. But it's consistently a game that I cannot keep in stock. I could get 3 copies of this game, and they will all sell at the very next event. I'm not even kidding you. And even at this particular event at Anime Week in Atlanta, there was a lot of stuff that I brought that just immediately sold. So, insane value just right there. So I see Wii Sports, and I'm like, ain't no way. There's no shot that this is actually Wii Sports in there. Take it out, or I pull it down there, I open it up. Sure enough, fucking Wii Sports right there. I'm like, huh. Look on the back, $3. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I know this is like a fucking $25, $30 game. Cool, we're scooping that up. Looked up Michael Jackson The Experience was a $25 game for $3 as well. Proceed to go through their just entire little section of games. Bunch of other little things here and there that weren't worth some money. Like, oh, this one was like another game that was like $5. It was like some Call of Duty something that ended up costing $15 loose. So there were some other deals in there, but those 2 particular ones, fucking Wii Sports, got scooped up instantly, and that sold the same weekend. Like I said, it's just one of those things I cannot hold on to. I had that, and I already had a copy of Sports Resort that I had picked up prior. Both of those at AWA immediately sold. Those are like the 2 games that people just can't get enough of. And I've heard different reasons behind that. I'll discuss that another day, I guess. But there's a lot of different reasons why people pick it up. And it's just really cool in that regard. So, but that was a big one. Bought a couple other games in another shop. It was a couple of the Just Dance games, which I was kind of surprised that nobody had scooped those up. I was like, okay, this is cool. Then I went to, there was a specific little flea market thrift store style thing. I pull up this is why, and I will take a picture of it and share up here. If I should have a picture of it already, so I just need to find that in my phone, where I pull up to this place, and there was, immediately as I'm walking up to the door, there was a lady holding trying to pick up a trash bag, and it looked the way that it was, I think it was full of clothes or something. She was trying to pick up this trash. It was directly in front of the door to the place, and she could not lift it. She was a very tiny lady. She was trying her darndest, but she couldn't pick it up. She was trying to pick it up, put it into a cart. And I'm like, here, ma'am, I got that for you. She's like, be careful, honey. It's heavy. One hand, because I'm a big dude. For anyone who's ever seen me at one of the regionals or whatever, I'm a big guy. I'm like 6'1". I have worked in retail and other jobs most of my life that require me to lift heavy shit. So I'm strong. I one-handed this bag and set it in the cart. Like, got any others? And she looked, oh, thank you so much, honey. Like, she was just so happy, but she's like two-handing this thing, struggling, not able to get it anywhere off the ground and can't pick it up. And I'm just, whoop, done. And she's like, wow. So she was impressed by that. That was just really funny. I was like, you need any help with anything else? Just to, be nice and be courteous. I don't ever expect anything in return. She's like, no, but thank you so much. I'll let you know if I do. And I go in there and I look around. Don't really see any other games. There's like one or two that I was like, oh, these are cool. Got them for like $1 a piece, that if they work, I haven't tested them yet, even as the recording of this. It was some History Channel game. It was like, I forget what it was called. Like I said, I'll show on screen. And, it was a skateboarding game for like PS2. Was the other one. Both of them were like $10 to $15 games. I think they were $10 a piece. When I go to the very back, I notice a bag that said EA Sports on it. There was no price on it. But I was like, oh, this is probably worth something. And I pull it up, and once again, at the time that I grabbed it, it was like, it said on eBay, $25 to $30. I'm like, dude, that's sick. Maybe I can get a deal for this. And I go up there. I'm like, ma'am, I didn't see... And I go up there to the cash register. And the same lady walks up to the cash register. Turns out she was one of the store owners. And I'm like, oh, shit. Hey, I didn't see a price for this back there. She's like, don't you worry about it, honey. It's yours. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, at this point in normally I would refuse that, but I'm kind of at a point in my life where I kind of have to take stuff like that if someone offers it. It's just one of those things of, I can't afford not to. So I'm like, okay, well, I do see the games are like $1 a piece. She almost tried to give me those. She was like, no, please let me pay you for the games. At least pay, like for that, because those were priced. And she's like, okay, I'll concede that one. So I paid her like $2 for some games. I also got a DVD. It was a comedian. It was a Mark Lowry, if anyone's ever heard of him. Really, really funny guy. So yeah, I got like those and a bag for free. Like I said, it's really cool. I'm not certain exactly what it's for, but it's kind of like a little messenger bag style. It's kind of neat. So I might be trying to sell that at an event or something just to see. But I got that because I helped somebody, not expecting anything in return, just because I was like, fuck it. Here, I am physically capable. I am able to help somebody. I want to be able to help him if I can. So that's what happened with there. Anyway. She was very nice, and we talked after the transaction was done, and she introduced herself and everything. Very, very wonderful, sweet lady. If I'm ever back in that town again, I will absolutely stop in and say hi to her. She was very, very wonderful. So we meet up after that, go get dinner, and we just kind of chill the rest of the evening. So when I was finally able to meet up with Zen and GK, so they and me all went to the convention center. It was the Atlanta Convention Center. It was a specific name tied to it, and I can't fucking think of it, and I'm sorry. It was a very interesting ordeal, like trying to, I thought I just had to rock up to the gate, and they're like, no, sorry, you have to go over to this staging area first and get a gate pass. Which it was really funny because I felt like I was back in trucking for a second. This convention's so big, they have sections where 18-wheelers are able to come in. I'm assuming for like drinks and other stuff, or, whatever other things need to be supplied to the convention center. And there, over at the quote-unquote staging area, was like a weigh scale for 18-wheelers, and really, really huge parking area with parking spots as big as that for 18-wheelers and everything. So I was like, man, I'm having flashbacks. Like, it felt weird. Me and Zen's mom went up to, because his mom was the one who does all the financing for their business and everything. Me and her went up to the staging area place. We got our information, got our passes, went through the gate and everything. We got unloaded that Wednesday, so that was the brain. I look up that and I get a message from a buddy in Discord. Said, I haven't had a rational thought in a long time. I'm like, shit, I feel you on that one, dog. So that was no, that's November, sorry, December. So that was the 17th, that Wednesday. So we got loaded in, we got everything set up. We kind of tweaked stuff throughout the entire convention. Things that I had to bring. Like there was a bunch of consoles that I brought. That's one of the bigger things that sells is consoles. Because I had like a PS2, a Wii, a complete in-box Wii. Oh, what else was it? I'm trying to think what else was. This is where I'm trying to remember like everything that sold. Just a lot of different like complete in-box items. PS4, a very nice PS4. It's a Uncharted 4 Special Edition. We had a fight stick, a Street Fighter. Or no, sorry. Marvel vs. Capcom is a different one. I'm very sorry. A Marvel vs. Capcom Xbox 360 fight stick. It was so funny how I tested this thing too. I wish I had video for this, and I need to record this kind of stuff. Where to test this fight stick, because I make certain everything works. Everything that I sell, I try to make certain that it works. Make certain that it plays games, that it functions properly. I never want to sell something that's broken. Whether it's games or obviously I try to test every single game that I get, short of, it being sealed, when I get it. Because if I get something that's sealed, obviously I'm not going to fucking open it and test it. It ruins the price on it. If it's completely and totally factory sealed, it's obviously way more expensive. Common sense. So the fight stick though, which I'll try to see if I can take a picture for that one if I haven't already taken one, and I'll try to share that as well. I didn't have a Marvel vs. Capcom game to test it. So I had to grab a different Xbox 360 game and see if I could make it work. So there's these there's like a little switch at the top of the fight stick where you could swap the mode of it. And I had to change it to a specific mode, but I was able to play, and I kid you not, Assassin's Creed. I think it was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Don't hold me to that. But I don't remember the Assassin's Creed titles. I want to say it was called Brotherhood. If I'm wrong, I'm so sorry. But I remember testing that, and I'm running around doing parkour with a fight stick. Which, for anyone who doesn't know what a fight stick is, and like I said, if I find a picture, show it on screen. It is what it looks like in an arcade, where you have just the knob and the flat buttons to press, and you'd have like a start and stop button at the top of the little thing. But I was using that to jump, to talk to people, to run, to do all the parkour and everything else had just different keybinds. So anyway, that was just a really cool thing, and that was a very interesting eye catch that people see and they go, "Yo, that's sick," and they kind of walk up and start talking about stuff. Another big thing was like mystery bags. So one thing, especially because of the Christmas holidays, but even prior to Christmas, I have been trying to do grab bags, like video game grab bags, basically. Because I figured, getting closer to Christmas and all the events that we had leading up to it, I would try to like get together games that I figure people might like, or try to get a lot of games together that all worked across the same themed systems, if that makes sense. Like, say, if I had a whole bunch of PlayStation games, I could go, okay, put in a PS2, PS3, PS4 game, and maybe like a little figure or something that I had, and put that into the grab bag, and would do the same thing. Oh, here's, and would write on it, okay, these are PlayStation themed. So that way, at least if somebody grabbed something that was, say there was another one that was Nintendo themed, it might have a GameCube game, a Wii game, a Wii U game, a DS game, Game Boy Advance, stuff like that. Anything from the Nintendo line of systems. Same thing for Xbox and whatnot. And I tried to have each of the bags like color coded, if that made sense. And just would do like, $20 for a grab bag, or $40 for a bag like that. But I tried to always make certain that you guaranteed got the value of the games in there. And then there was another thing I did with consoles. So I did mystery boxes as well. And this was a really fun one because I had a $100 box and a $200 box. In the $100 box was a system and games to go with that system, complete, had all the cords, controllers, and everything. I'm not going to spoil what it was because, you know, you need to be there. You need to, you know, you need to show up at some of the events in Raleigh and, you know, say hi. But I guarantee, like, everything in those boxes matched and then exceeded the price of the overall box. So it was, you know, very much a really good deal. Same thing for like the $200 one. It was a system that was like $150, $160. It was like $150. And then I made certain to throw like $50 worth of games in there. It was like 5 games or it was like 4 or 5 games that went with it that all equaled up to well over like $230. I think it exceeded, I think it was like $210 when I sealed the box. And then there was one of the games in there shot up in price. Well, but I had already sealed it. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll honor it. Whatever. I'm still making money off of it. It doesn't matter. So that was whatever. So it ended up being a value of like a $240, almost $250 box by the end of it. So that was really cool. So, but both of those sold at the event. I thought that was really good. Trying to think what else. But so we have a whole bunch of games set out. Lots of different card stuff, because I do try to bring my binders and everything. Binder, I hardly know her. To the different events for people to pick through. There's one particular binder that is all the cards that I have on the TCG Player store that I have. So if someone gets something out, a Weiss card or a Pokemon card or something out of that, I will take a picture of it so I know to take that off the inventory when I get home. I'm trying to think what else. So I guess I'll eventually remember like other stuff that I was trying to sell. Figures like was another big thing. Figures, little plushies, some sealed Pokemon card decks. Well, it was like pre-constructed Pokemon decks and whatnot. Calyrex VMAX, I think was one of them. And I don't remember the Lycon V or something. It was a dude. It looked like a hyena or something. It was a starter deck for him. I showed up with like 3 of each of those, and all of those, like, people bought those up. Pokemon cards I just can't keep in stock. Whether it's loose cards, sealed, it's kind of crazy how fast those sell. But after we got set up, we get checked into the hotel and everything. Like I said, I'll think of other stuff as I go through, because obviously there's like fun stories and everything to be told for this particular convention. So we got set up in the hotel. We got us some food. What was the name of the place? There was a particular grill that we went to that was like a little bit north of Atlanta. After we got everything set up and everything. Parking in Atlanta fucking sucks. Luckily, I will give big major shout outs to the convention, because they had at that same little staging area, like right next to it, the same people that owned the staging area to get into the convention to begin with, had a separate section for parking. And they made the offer to the vendors like, hey, we can, you can pay for parking here. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than what you're going to pay at the hotel. Because at the hotel, it was like $60 or $70 a night. And at this particular one, and I did try to check some other places before I agreed to this, but when I looked at all the prices, it was like $30 a night at this little parking place, at this staging area. And that was the cheapest that I could find around there for that weekend, because, you know, Christmas and everything too. So big shout outs to the convention on that. I appreciate you. So they gave me a parking pass, and they're like, cool, you're here for like, for the entirety of your duration. You just pay on the way out. So it was all good. We get set up the next day. After, as I said, we went to a grill, we ate, what else? I'm trying to think. We just get set up, and I make certain that like the square reader's working. I'm making certain I have all my change. So I get down there, and I am going back over everything. Everything had gotten set up the day before, but say some of the new games and whatnot that I had picked up, I hadn't put prices on them. So I was going back through everything, making certain prices where I like these little white tags for, you know, writing the price down on it, sticking them up there, and just making certain that every single one of the things had a price tag up there. And obviously some people found some ones that I missed almost instantly. Like one of the first people pulls out like a fucking DS game or something and was just like, oh, I don't see a price on it. And I look, and I'm like, shit. Like it was like one of two things that I missed the entire time. I'm like, how is the first thing you reach for one of the only things that I didn't price? So like it just, it always happens like that, right? It was just funny. So any event like that, when I'm set up completely, I try to look around at the other vendors. I want to always take a look at the other vendors. So this kind of puts the weekend in perspective when I tell you what this was. So this was Thursday. This was a 4-day convention. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I was one of 2 that I recall. I think one of them left. No, it was 3. There was 3, then one of them left Saturday. This is fucked up. One of 3 video game sellers and one of 3 card game sellers. And one of the video game people left Saturday. Yeah. So it's not like I have a lot of competition. There was a lot of the vendors there were more artist alley type stuff, which is totally fine. Like, that's totally cool. I mean, there was the one fucking booth that was like, literally the only thing they had was Hololive merch, Honkai Star Rail merch, and Uma Musume. And I'm like, oh my god, this is the worst booth for me to look at. My wallet screamed at me because I saw so much stuff that I wanted. Oh my goodness. I don't care. I'm willing to admit I'm a degen man. I was like, bro, I see Dakimakuras I want. I see all this other figures, plushies. Oh my goodness. So much stuff that I wanted, man. But I'm like, bro, I have to make money at this event. I had to be very sparing with what I could spend, obviously. Obviously, I do try to bring spending money on top of, like, having to pay for food and all this other stuff, but I try to make certain that I get a couple sales first before I go and actually buy stuff. I want to support the other vendors, right? Doing this job, meeting all the other vendors that I've met and trying to befriend them is a very huge part of this. Trying to respect each other, respecting your neighbors, respecting their space, and just trying to be just kind and courteous to everyone else that goes to these conventions is a major part of building connections and establishing good business relationships. And I absolutely have always been that type of person, so it feels just second nature to me. Where I'm able to yap with near about anybody, especially doing this job, but also doing YouTube for fucking, God, going on 10 years now. Happy anniversary, right? Where even right now, I'm able to sit down in front of a fucking microphone and just yap into the void for, hell, the recording's going for 30 minutes now. So it's going to be longer than that before I'm done with this, with all the stories that I want to tell in this thing. Oh my God. So I'm doing this job, podcasting and talking. I worked in retail for years. I can talk to people. I am not I don't really go out and socialize, but so much. Like, I'm not the type of person to go, let's go to a bar, let's go to a club this weekend, guys. I'm usually the type like, fuck it, I'm staying home playing video games. But then if I'm out in public, if I'm talking to, if I'm having to deal with the public, I can openly talk to anyone and everyone, and it surprises all my friends. But I'm able to talk to these people, talk to other vendors. I'm able to like go up to a vendor and be like, oh, hey, good luck this weekend. Hope you're able to make some good sales and whatnot. I'll see some of their product or some of the merchandise. Like, say if it's one of the Artist Alley people, I'll see like Honkai Star Rail merch and I'll be like, oh, that's so pretty or something. Just being a person, just being nice and courteous. I'll compliment. I just naturally compliment them on their artwork or whatever stuff that they're selling. I'm like, this is so cool. And I'll end up, talking with them or whatnot. Like, oh, where are you from? Where, how was the drive down? Stuff like that. And because of that, and because of talking to lots of vendors at different events in Raleigh, there's several repeat vendors that I'll see. I'll be like, oh, hey, what's up? Just, wave hi to people. To the point that now there's several that I have their Discord information and I message them about particular events coming up. Or they'll message me and be like, hey, do you have this particular video game or do you have these particular cards? And they'll ask me, request me for stuff. And that's a big part of building up relations with this. You never want to burn bridges when it comes to that kind of stuff, especially if it's people that you see repeatedly at events and people that you're going to see a lot. There are certain things you want to be kind and courteous, even if they are not kind and courteous to you. It's just be a good person, right? So getting back to the convention, there was a lot of, like I said, a lot of Artist Alley stuff. And one of the other big draws of this was the guests that were showing up at this convention. Oh my goodness. So my biggest thing, getting into Honkai Star Rail and going to a lot of conventions, I have met several of the voice actors for Honkai Star Rail at these different events. I have there's so many that I want to meet. There's so many that I want to get autographs from and try to, tell them, hey, thank you so much for the amazing work in this game. I love this game. I want to, here's my support. It's not much, but here is my support, and I will, I'll pay to get an autograph from them or something. And typically they'll have like a little a print or something that they autograph for it. So I've done that. I've gotten little like Weiss Schwarz cards signed and other little cards signed for Moroku and whatnot at some events. Like say, for example, we went to IbashoCon last year, and there was the voice actors for Honkai Star Rail fans. You'll know these people. Molly, who played Zila, was there. She also plays Astra Yao in Zenless Zone Zero, if you know her. There was Nicholas Leung, who plays Don Hung, both the original form, Imbibitor Lunae, and the preservation form. As well as he's done other stuff as well. I met those at IbashoCon. They're some of the nicest people ever. Molly was really cool. She's also a big fan of Final Fantasy XIV. So I had specifically brought a foil card of, oh my god, what was his name? Emmett Selk, from Final Fantasy XIV. I brought her a card. I'm like, here you go. I wanted to give this as a gift. I don't know if this is something you would want or if you're allowed to take gifts like this, but if you want it, it is yours. And so she's like, oh, I'm definitely keeping this. So, that's really cool. I was just really happy that she wanted that. And then, like I said, still bought a print and a autograph from her. So say later on I saw, and then like Animazement the same year, I remember seeing Howard, who voices Luca, and Emmy Lowe, who voices Ruan Mei. Both of them, no, Emmy wasn't. Actually, I don't know if Emmy was. I know Howard was at Anime Weekend Atlanta. I didn't get a chance to say hi to him, but I already had a autograph from him, so I wasn't going to be, if I saw him, I would go, hey bro, what's up? But other than like that, I wasn't going to go buy another one. Whomst I did see, though, was Natalie, who voices Natalie von Sistine. If I butchered any part of that, I'm so sorry. But she voices Serval. I will show the picture of the autograph that I got from her. And she was so cool. I ended up talking to her for a little bit. She's another person that was like, oh, you need to go to Dragon Con as well. And I'm like, oh no, this is a setup for a D's Nuts joke. But no, there is a Dragon Con, not a D's Nuts joke, for real, that I've heard people talk about so much before. And she was another one that she's like, I will go to Dragon Con, even not as a guest. I will go just as a regular fucking attendee. She loved it that much. And so over the years, I've heard a lot of people talk about that one. That may be one I try to go to at some point, even not as a vendor, just to go see. Like, apparently it's amazing. So I'm like, hey, that's really cool. And then I got to meet, and this is the one that I'm really going to butcher, and I'm so sorry. She was one of the sweetest people ever. Oniris. And if I mispronounce that, I am so sorry. But she voiced Fei Xiao in Honkai Star Rail. And also, once again, I will post that. I will show that autograph also on screen. And she also was so sweet. She was so nice. One of the coolest people at that entire convention. So I was able to get autographs from both of them, talk to them a little bit, kind of, because I tried to catch them, one, when it was kind of slowed down at the booth, where Zen and GK could look at could keep an eye on my stuff while I went and simped over voice actors. And but I would go up and be like, okay, there's like no line for Serval, or there's no line for Facial. Let me go hit them up. And would just talk to them a little bit, just say, hey, hope you're enjoying the weekend. They're like, oh yeah, how are you enjoying it? I'm like, oh, I'm vendoring over here. She said, I think it was Natalie who said, or Serval, who was like, oh shit, I might have to walk around later and see what you got. But I don't remember seeing her over there, but just end up, just kind of yapping and talking about like how the convention was going. I'm like, yeah, I'm here for 4 days as well. She's like, I feel you on that. So it was really cool to meet them. There was one other major guest that I didn't get an autograph from, but there's a big but to this. I still met them. And I'm not going to say who the guest was. I'm just going to tell the story, because you'll find out who it is in a second here. So I want to say it was either Friday night or Saturday night, one of the two. Me, Zen, and GK went and we're like, fuck it, we want some pizza. Let's order takeout for some pizza. Or delivery for some pizza. Sorry. I was like, yes, that sounds fucking amazing, and it was delicious. So we order it. We get the call that they've arrived. So me and GK, Guinea Kitty, go down to the lobby to pick it up, to finish paying for it, pick it up and everything. No, we paid for it already. I'm sorry. To pick it up and take it back to the room. We get back on the elevator. A whole bunch of people get back on the elevator. I'm holding the pizzas. One of the floors, it was like an early floor. I want to say it was like floor like 8 or something. The doors open and four big guys, they leave the elevator, but they make a joke as they're leaving. I don't remember what the joke is because of what's about to happen here. I just remember it being funny, and everybody started laughing. But my brain forgets what the joke was because I recognized one of the laughs. I turn to my left. I'm kind of up against the back of the elevator. I look to my left and I see a small Asian lady. And I realize who it is. But I had to ask the question. I turned my mouth wide open like a fucking idiot. I just, like literally, it had to, I was pogging. It was the pog face. And she looks up at me. She's like, you good? I'm like, are you K-san? And she goes, yeah. For anyone who doesn't know who K-san is, one of the ex-V Shoujo members on V Shoujo Japan before all that stuff went down. Oh boy! Also very famous. It's no secret. Obviously, she was in Hololive as well. I'll let you do your own research on that one. But she's a very, very famous VTuber. And she's not been one to shy away from her IRL self. Like, she's shown her IRL self plenty of times, because she used to do she would cosplay her own VTuber avatar as well, but she would cosplay like Tifa and some other really awesome cosplays. And so she's shown her IRL face before, but I didn't recognize her. She didn't have makeup on or whatever. I just didn't recognize her, but I recognized her laugh. I don't know how, but I did. I don't even watch her streams regularly like that, but I watched when she's on Trash Taste, when she, does collabs with other stuff. Obviously a lot of videos when the V Shoujo stuff dropped. It's not like I go watch her streams religiously. I just somehow, must have been because of the Trash Taste episodes, I just remembered her laugh. And obviously all the memes and stuff like that. Good morning, my friends, you know what that also should be if you know the Hololive side of things. So, yeah, that happened. And I will say right now, if I wasn't the one holding the fucking pizza, I would have kneeled and bowed to this lady. I'm gonna be completely honest. I would have bowed down to her and be like, I am not worthy. You know, like she's that big of a legend. Obviously, you know, she's a normal person, but she's such a big name in the VTubing sphere, streaming in general, obviously, but just also just such a wonderful person in general. I can't imagine anything that's, you know, gone wrong or anything bad she's done. If she has, I certainly don't know of it. I'm just saying. So, but yeah, I was like, oh, like, are you Kay-san? She's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, hi. My brain shuts the fuck down. Because I'm like, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? I'm like shitting my brain right at this point. And I'm like, how are you enjoying the convention so far? Just trying to, I was like, make conversation. We're only going to be in the elevator for like another 45 seconds. Like, I was just, hey, are you enjoying the convention so far? She said, yeah, we're doing good. How are you enjoying it? And we, yeah, like I said, we talked for maybe like 30 to 40 seconds. GK doesn't know what the fuck is going on. She doesn't know VTuber lore like that. She didn't know who Kay-san was prior to this. Anyway, Zen kind of knew who she was, but didn't know the specifics. He's like, I've heard the name before. So I tell her, oh yeah, I'm a vendor down in the dealer's room and everything. She said, oh, cool. Hey, you know, I hope you get some good sales this weekend. And I'm like, I'm just like, what's that? I'm pogging this whole time. And she had her, the convention assistant, typically a lot of like major guests like that will have convention staff or whatever, like, you know, helping show them around and whatnot and trying to like, you know, keep weirdos away from, you know, them as well. You know, luckily I wasn't being weird. I was just talking. Well, like I said, even though I just mentioned, like, I have the gift of gab, there's times when even my brain shuts down and I'm like, oh, what do I say? What do I say? Type thing. So there is the duality there. I'm not perfect, but it also, I'm like, okay, I at least need to just talk. I at least need to, you know, just be nice and you know, not be weird. Just talk like a normal human being. And that's all that happened for about a minute. And they're like, oh yeah, we have a panel no, so this had to been Friday. Because she said, we have a panel tomorrow, and I remember that was Saturday. So, I was like, oh, hey, I don't know if I'll be able to make it because of the vendoring, but hey, thank you so much for letting me know. And she said, oh, of course. And I also said hello to the her assistant and everything. I was like, hey, and I bet it's gonna be tough keeping an eye on her this weekend. And the guy was just like, oh, you don't know the half of it. And we had a good little laugh there. It was great. And so then our the elevator opens for us, and me and GK have to leave, but they had to keep going up the elevator. So I'm like, y'all have a wonderful weekend and whatnot, and just try to be nice, right? The doors close, and we're walking back to the hotel room down the hallway, and I just let out like this, just ah. And GK's like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "You don't know who that was, do you?" So I get back to the fucking room and we explain it to Zen. And then I have to give the lore of Kay-san to both of these people. And they're like, oh, she's a big name, understood. So that was hilarious. That was wild, man. And so that was so fun. I immediately texted that whole story just then. I text that to like 3 people as soon as we finished eating the pizza. It was wild. Moroku was just like, oh shit, really? So I did try to go back to see if I could get an autograph, but every time I went back the entire weekend to her little booth, there was a mile long line, which I don't fault people for, but I was like, I can't stay away from the booth for that long. I'll just have to forego it. So one more story about voice actors. This one didn't involve me in particular, but it did involve my niece. So, Zen, I have always considered to be a brother. Him, GK, and Miss Sonia are family to me. And Zen has a daughter. Her name is Iris. She is the cutest little damn thing under the sun. She went with us to this event, to this convention, and she tried to be helpful. She tried to help Uncle Kade the whole weekend and just being as helpful as possible. She was so adorable. When she wasn't on her iPad playing Minecraft or Roblox, whatever it was. But At one point, we had heard that one of the other major voice actresses who was going to be there, was from K-pop Demon Hunters, and that was the one for Mira. And I want to say her voice actress's name was May. And if I'm wrong on that, I'm so sorry. Future me, please correct me on the screen who it was. But the voice actress for Mira was there, and Iris wanted to go see her. So here's the thing. And I do not fault her. I do not fault her for the popularity and everything. Like, absolutely, you have to do this. To even be able to meet Mira, you still had to pay. Whether you got an autograph or not, you still had to pay to even be able to meet her. But I cannot fault her because of the popularity. But say if I just wanted to go up and talk to Faye Xiao or Serval, but was like, I just want to give you my support. I'm sorry, I can't buy an autograph or something. I just want to say hi and say I love your characters in game. I could do that with them. You cannot do that for Mira because of just how popular she was. They had to charge. Like, that's so fair. I don't fault her. And obviously, you gotta bring home the bacon. You got to make the money, and I don't fault her for one doing that. But obviously so GK, Iris's mother, had taken her over to that, oh no, sorry honey, we have to pay to even be able to do that. So Iris was like, oh, okay. They start to walk away. And the voice actress, Mira, calls out to them and says, wait, you're good. Kids don't have to pay. And I can only imagine she's probably had to turn away, like, kids or something. Probably at previous events, she's probably had to watch people leave because of that. And especially because there's a lot of kids that do love that movie and look up to those her and the other girls who voice those characters. I'm certain that they've had to turn away people because, you know, the parents did not want to pay just to meet them or whatever, you know. On top of if they wanted to get an autograph, it was probably, you know, they had to pay double basically. So I'm certain she's probably had to turn away a lot of kids because of that. So she said, no, I do not charge for the kids to meet anymore. So Iris was able to go up there and talk to her and say hi and like for a few minutes or whatever. And it was just the sweetest damn thing. She says, I'm so sorry. I have to charge for pictures or autographs, but I'm more than willing to talk to you. So she makes so that is so cool. I highly respect her. The fact that she makes the time and doesn't charge for kids to be able to meet, that's so sweet of her, and that's so awesome. So really cool in that regard, and that's super wholesome at the end of the day, right? That's just so awesome. So they came back to the booth and they told me, you know, all that had transpired, and I'm like, heck yeah, good job, and I gave her a high five. And so like the whole weekend, where I'll try to like go through some of the cosplay pictures I took as well. A lot of people cosplaying is different, like Honkai Star Rail people, Uma Musume. There was one. This was so cool. I wasn't expecting one particular cosplay. I'll go ahead and try to show on screen right now. Dude cosplaying the main character from Pokemon Coliseum. I had never seen a cosplay of that before. I jumped out in my fucking chair when I saw him. I was just like, yo, dude, that's sick. Like, I was so happy. Like, I was like, I thought that was so cool. I've never seen anybody in all my years, as old as fucking Pokemon Coliseum is. God, what year? What was that? 2002, 2003? I don't remember. Easily a 20-plus year old game. I'd never seen anybody cosplay from that game. And dude had the fucking like setup for the snag machine and everything. Had the shades, the drip, everything for it. Looked absolutely cool. I loved that. So that was one of the epic cosplays of the week. There was a Gundam cosplay. Oh, sorry, I thought of Gundam and this somehow transitioned to VTubers. There were a bunch of VTubers. People go, you know how some of the conventions now, you'll have VTubers going around with the little machines, little robot machines and the screen and everything, or someone walking around with like a fucking iPad or something. or you'll have the remote control machines that they can control and move. And a lot of them were going around the convention. So every time one of them came by in the dealer's room, I made it a point to try to say hi to them and whatnot, and try to say, hey, like if it was, whether it was a VTuber I recognized or not, I tried to be courteous to them, to both the people handling them. Also, like, hey, good luck, trying to handle all these VTubers this weekend. He's like, oh boy, it's crazy, but talking to the different VTubers that came around, I was like, oh, is there anything in particular you're looking for? Yeah, well, once again, just trying to talk and see, hey, is there any particular merchandise you're looking for? You just like looking. They're like, oh, we're just looking, and whatnot. Just really cool to see them and yap with them for like a little bit. All right, so let's bring it back around to the business side of things, because I realized I got lost in the sauce there for a little bit, and I do greatly apologize. It was super fun going in and seeing a bunch of the different voice actors, all the different merch that was there, all the different like things that were going on, and like I said, meeting a fucking legend in the elevator, like stuff like that. Really awesome. And obviously being able to spend time with those whom I consider family was really, really fun. And I do love that. So, before I say anything, before what I'm about to say, I would happily go back again to Anime Week in Atlanta. As a vendor, I don't know. As a con goer, I would love to go. God, I could spend like hours each day. Even if I just got like a 1-day pass or something, I would be willing to do it. But in terms of going back as a vendor, I don't know that I could do that. I still made a lot of sales, don't get me wrong. But I made, over the course of the weekend, the same amount that I could make at a 1-day event in Raleigh. Over the course of 4 days, I made the same amount, not counting, obviously, my expenses and stuff. That's a separate issue altogether. Just say, for example, $1,000 in 1 day for a, 8 out, like, honestly, 6 to 7 hour event. Haha, 6, 7. Versus a 4-day convention. That's making roughly the same amount as that is not good. Like I said, I'm not going to say the exact numbers. None of those are the exact numbers that I made. But I made the equivalent of a 1-day event in Raleigh. Had to drive all the way to Atlanta, help pay for food, pay for parking. Luckily, Miss Sonia is one of the nicest people in the world and told me not to worry about paying for my portion of the hotel. I told her, next time I'm helping, there's nothing you can do to stop me. But if it weren't for, stuff like that, I may have gone and not made anything for the entire weekend. Like I said, not counting all my expenses and counting all the other stuff that I have to take into account, paying the taxes and stuff like that, obviously. That's a rough weekend for me. Miss Sonia still did very good selling all of her stuff. Zen and GK still sold a lot. She said they did good, but it could have been way better. And that's basically the vibe that we got talking to all the other vendors. And obviously I'll give my reasonings for this in a second here. But once again, there were some people that just outright left. And there's a lot of vendors that will say, please do not start packing until 30 minutes before the event's supposed to end or whatever. Or please don't start packing up before this specific time. Because they'll have a little clause in there. If you decide to do so, you may not be asked to come back for future events. So that's always kind of a big no-no. Is like, oh, if you just outright leave an event, sometimes you won't be invited back to that event. There were multiple people who left. There were multiple tables by Saturday. By Saturday morning, when I would go around, there were booths that had been vacated that I wanted to go back and look at. And even one of our neighbors, like in the little row that we were at, there was one particular vendor 2 spots down from us, that I wanted to go back and look at her artwork and look at her stuff. And she had just packed up and left. She just said, fuck it, this is not worth my time. She decided to cut her losses, probably got, partially refunded for like hotel or something. And she left. And that was a shared sentiment across a lot of other vendors. Now, I want to chalk this up to the fact of it was the weekend before Christmas. A lot of people were probably going looking for hyper-specific things, which is totally fine. That's no problem. But that does affect my sales, because I'm assuming a lot of people had already spent all the money that they wanted to spend on Christmas presents for other people or themselves or whatever, and didn't want to have to spend more money. But you paid also to like get into the convention. So, there's payment. I had to pay for that. There's having to pay for, autographs. Hey, maybe it was someone who showed up because they wanted to go see Mira or they wanted to go see Kason. So they're already paying to get in. They're paying to go see and or talk to the person. And then they still walk around the dealer's room looking for maybe hyper-specific things. Maybe they're not going to go look at all the Artist Alley people. And I really hate that, because there was so much gorgeous artwork and just beautiful things that I saw. I'm not going to share pictures of the artwork, because obviously that artwork does not belong to me. If it was something that I purchased, like I say, like the autographs, I paid for those, the prints and everything that they got, that I autographed, or that I got autographed. I can show pictures of those because I fucking paid for it. But I did take pictures of some other artwork or some other artists that I was like, hey, take a picture of this. I want to come back and look at this again and maybe buy something from them. But that's not something I'm going to show, because I don't own the rights to their artwork. It's just the fact of there was so much beautiful, like I said, between the Artist Alley stuff. I'm also a sucker for buying as I turn. The sound's going to be weird because I'm turning my head. I have a wall dedicated to nothing but like acrylic charms, because I'm obsessed with getting them, of different franchises, of different series. I have everything from Honkai Star Rail, Hololive, Fate, various Fate stuff, Final Fantasy 14, other various VTubers, other series or solo levelings in there, Senko-san. What else do I see? Fucking Monica from Doki Doki. There's more, Shield Hero. ReZero. I got a bunch of Rem ones as well. There's more Fates. It's just a whole bunch of other ones, and then there's even more on the other side of the wall. I know I got like a Saber one over there. There's more Hololive over there on the other side of the wall. There's another Rem. There's DBZ. I got a bunch of like acrylic charms and stuff like that that's just one of my like weaknesses. A part of it is I want to support content creators and the artists and whatnot in Artist Alley. So one of the best ways to do that is because they'll typically do like bundle deals. If you buy like 3 acrylic charms, they'll knock off like, $10 or something, $10 or $15. Just kind of depends on what it is, depends on the event. So that's something that I always do. I'll go and try to support the artist and stuff like that, because that's what you should do. Fuck AI art. Just saying. I try to support actual artists. So that's always something that I try to do. So to see them just be like, they've had such a shit weekend that they just have to cut their losses and leave, knowing they are probably not going to be invited back because of leaving early. That, like, I feel so bad for them. You got to do what you got to do. You got to cut your losses. I don't fault them, but I also feel I feel bad that, it was that bad of an experience for them financially. If I wasn't sharing a booth with other people and there with friends and family, I would have also considered leaving. I'm not even kidding. We didn't, obviously. We stayed the full weekend. So maybe if Zen, GK, and Miss Sonia want to go back again later this year, because I think they moved it instead of December. It's in November this year of 2026. I think it is. I'm not certain. Watch it be the week before Thanksgiving. But if I were to go back, I don't know if I would want to go as the vendor side or just spend the money and just maybe ride down with them and not worry about like having to pay parking and shit like that. If I just went as a con goer and maybe just help them with their booth or something. I don't know. Something along those lines. I'm not 100% certain what I would want to do in that regard. But I don't fault anyone who doesn't want to go back to that. It was this, in terms of a con goer, it was a great experience because I got to meet a lot of people. I also bought like other merchandise and other stuff that I wanted to get. That was really fucking fun. But as a vendor, it was not the greatest experience in the world. When we say shit was expensive, I had to basically, to get my drinks for the day, or to get like food and extra stuff that didn't cost us an arm and a leg, you would try to go buy a fucking bottle of water from the hotel and they would charge $9 to $10. And I'm like, fuck that shit. There was a convenience store that I had to walk a block down to every morning, and I could get my cans of like Arizona green tea for 99 cents. And I'm like, brother, you are a lifesaver. I would buy loaves of bread so that we could make sandwiches. I would buy other stuff that we could just heat up in a microwave. And if it weren't for that little convenience store, I would be even more upset. I'm just being real. I'm having to scour each of the food vendors for whatever's the cheapest thing or the, best bang for your buck type deal. And sadly, that was Chick-fil-A, I think. I think Chick-fil-A had the best prices for the... and they weren't even open on the Sunday one because Chick-fil-A's not open on Sundays. Even in the convention, they were like, yeah, sorry, we're not going to be back on Sunday. So I'm like, hey, I can't fault you. That's the rules. Dim's the rules. So, oh my goodness. So, on the vendoring side, not the greatest in the world. It was a very tough thing for that. I wish I could have sold more stuff. I also don't know what else. I try to be careful of how much I bring. I have a lot of stuff that I could bring, but I basically packed down my entire car, and it was full to the brim of Gunpla, consoles, games, anime figurines, all sorts of stuff. And obviously I had to be mindful of how much space that I was taking up from Zen and GK, but I also had to be very, because of that, I had to be careful what all I could even put out. So say there were some things that I brought, but I wasn't able to really put out on the tables due to space. In my mind, I'm sitting there going, oh, well, as stuff sells down, I can put more stuff out. Guess what didn't really happen that much? I wasn't able to cycle stuff. I wasn't able to be like, yeah, sure. As like these consoles and stuff sell down, I can put other stuff up here and make room for stuff. That just didn't happen at this event. I couldn't do that because it really didn't do that well. Luckily, a lot of my mystery bags sold, and that was where a lot of money, like, honestly came from for this. Because people do love the mystery bag stuff, and obviously, like, the Christmas idea kind of worked for that. If it wasn't for the mystery boxes as well, that was a huge chunk of how much I made was selling the mystery boxes. Like, that's another huge portion of it. So, and then obviously, like, selling stuff from Moroku and whatnot as well, because like I said, because one of my best friends and we're business partners as well, so we try to do our best on that. It's one of those things of, it was rough. I still enjoyed myself because I was there with friends and family. But oh boy, did it suck as a vendor. It was not ideal. Also, the like going in and out of the places that we had to go to get loaded up, or whether it was bringing our stuff into the convention center or bringing our stuff out of the convention center, was kind of stupid. Like the way their setups were not ideal. It was kind of dumb. So I will just leave it at that, and we'll just say it's up in the air as to whether I'll go back and do it again. I don't know as of the recording of this particular video. So, but we will find out. We'll find out in the future. I want to go back. I do want to go. As a vendor, I don't know, but I want to go back because I know people who are going to be there next year or this year. I know people who are going, and I would love to see them. So that's kind of the biggest reason if I were to go would be to go see those people. Not even the biggest reason being vendoring and making money. Because I don't know if I'll go and make money. Like it's a gamble that you have to do, obviously. You never know going to any event whether you're going to make money or not. And this was a very good example of it, but I'm so thankful for the people that I was with that was able to make it that much easier. And took a big burden off of like a lot of the cost of doing so. Whether that was in, buying food or whether that was paying for the hotel, all sorts of stuff. Like we try to look out for each other in that regard. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here because I realize I've been yapping for a hot minute. So thank you very much for listening. If you somehow lasted this long in me yapping, I do greatly appreciate it. It is a very cool experience to be able to go to conventions and events like this, and I'm very thankful for anyone who's able to help me with that, anyone who has worked with me on that, other vendors, friends, family, all that stuff who has been able to make this job so much more bearable. I love this job. Do not get me wrong. I love it, but oh my goodness, it's difficult some days, man. It is very difficult some days. Thank you. It is greatly appreciated. I would like to share more of my insights and experiences on that kind of stuff later as well. So, y'all stay safe and remember, as always, to stay based.